Right then, Gareth, we've got a bit of a chronology laid out, and we'll just go through it and see what we can do, see what we think. We've got that little bit of green glazed pottery.
First item, it's not very much. This
No.
came out of the lower levels, but not at the bottom of the Old Kirk salt pan. We think, 1600s?
Sometime in the mid 17th century, yes, thereabouts, 1650s, guessing. A pottery specialist will tell us a wee bit more about that. You can see it's only glazed, dark green glaze on the outside, unglazed on the inside. So, but that's our oldest bit of pottery, we think, so far.
And we've still got further to go in that building.
Yes,
so.
we have,
Right.
which is very exciting.
Okay.
And this came from our other pan house, and it's just this triangular lump of very decayed, as it falls to bits on my hand, decayed sandstone, but it's got this silvery white crystalline structure over it, which has obviously got something to do with the salt making itself. And
Yeah, we think that's probably calcium carbonate, which they call scratch. It's
oh,
kind
right,
of hard,
okay.
crusty stuff, which white kind of tastes disgusting. Not very nice at all.
You actually did that.
It's not nice. I'm trusting that was in context, and we know that that's from. What do we think? The bottom of that pan.
It's the bottom of the pan house. The pan house we think now is constructed 1630, given the preservation of it. So again, sometime in the late 17th century, beginning of the 18th century.
Okay.
We don't know. We'll find out.
Right. Next bit. Interesting one. This we're not quite sure, but Jill Turnbull's been down. She's had a look at it.
This is quite exciting.
Yeah, she thinks this is an ingot of glass.
Yep.
Probably ready to go into a glassworks, and we know that the glassworks in Port Seaton, just along the road from this, not half a mile away, early 18th century.
1730s.
Yep.
Thereabouts.
So if that's correct, then that's an interesting find. It didn't come out of in context at the Old Kirk, but it was relatively close to the surface, maybe a couple of feet down, but worth keeping an eye on that. It may have been shifted from somewhere.
Absolutely fantastic.
Next one.
Well, we got this from our salt pan last year, and it was intact when it went into the ground, smashed in situ, quite high up in the salt pan. But we've had George Haggerty, who's a pottery specialist. He's looked at this, and he reckons it's a small porcelain tea jug, teapot, not teapot,
Tea bowl.
tea bowl. That's the word. And it's probably made locally along in Preston pans sometime between 1730 and 1780. And this is before they actually had teacups with handles. They just had bowls and saucers. So you can see we've roughly taped it together at the moment, and it's got this nice deep sort of foot ring here. We've got this other bit of pottery which is very similar, which is not a tea bowl, but it's got that same type of fabric with the big deep foot ring.
Yeah, so we think this is probably contemporary with that, but we'll get somebody to have a good look at it.
George will tell us straight away.
On that.
Yeah.
Right, next one's getting into the things that we were interested in at the harbour initially. We're pretty certain we've now got a couple of bits of fish belly rail. Two bits here, how they go together, but they don't actually quite match.
It's cast iron, so it's broken into chunks.
Yeah, you can start to see that this bit's wider than that bit. This is the end that goes into the rail chair. This is the bottom of the belly starting to curve back. Fantastic bits of cast iron. It's
Absolutely.
the first bits of rail from the early 19th century that we've found.
We've got the chairs in situ. We've got a chair in the case over there from our previous trenches, but finding that is just spectacular.
Right, and this mystery object, which could be, I'm not certain, it's cast, very heavy, very large.
Very heavy.
It looks, for all intents, like the end of the rail that went into the tipper mechanism that the Stevensons drew when they were describing what was on the harbour front. Yeah. It could be. We'll do some more work on that and work it out. Swiftly on, clay pipe, a couple of bits of clay pipe.
Yeah, and these must date to about 1830, 1850, because they were found in a deep feature that's associated with the turntable and the tipping mechanism at the harbour side. And we know that's constructed in 1830. These were found in the fill of it, quite low down. So potentially, pre-1850.
So that's
I
from
would
the
guess.
bottom of the massive deep hole that Gary was in
Yes,
today.
absolutely.
Great. Next bit, coming up to speed.
Right, okay, chimney pot, isn't it?
Yep, chimney pot from the Old Kirk building. There's a photograph of this building about 1900. It shows a tall brick chimney with chimney cans on top. There's one of the chimney cans,
you can see,
part of one of the
you
cans.
can see the decoration on that, which is just
Yeah.
fantastically moulded.
I think they made those at Preston Grange. We found a lot of stuff from Preston Grange from that build, so that's probably 1860 to 1880, something that kind of period.
Excellent.
Another bit here, same sites, same only different. Sanitas toilets, possibly contemporary with that.
I would have to say yes, it is. We've
Yep.
even found the outside loo it came from, haven't we?
Yeah, oh yeah, we found the remains of it outside and the drain.
Brilliant.
In fact, who was saying that they'd just stuck their hand down the drain just to see if it was clear?
That was Neil.
It was Neil,
Yes.
right.
Okay.
Next one, we described these the other day, little tokens, which we think are late 19th century. These are Pickwick's pawnbroker tokens
From Preston Pans, apparently.
from Preston Pans, I think. Yeah, there was a branch there. The larger one has 1 shilling, I think, written on it.
Yes. Yeah.
We've got to do a bit of work cleaning them up.
Yep.
We'll keep going, we'll rattle on through these. Greyware, jars, turn of the century, you think?
Late 1900s, early 20th century.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. We got a lot of this from the Old Kirk. Butchered
Cattle bone.
beast, yeah, cattle.
Just been sawn and chopped.
Interestingly, we've got that stone as well in the bottom of the building
Yes.
that looks as if it's
So
got
we
chop
know
marks in
they've
it.
been doing butchery on site.
Okay. Right, coming up a little bit closer to date now. We've
Fantastic
got,
bit of local social history.
quite pleased
there.
with this one, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
D'Chaka's Cafe from Cockenzie. People have remembered D'Chaka's Cafe.
Fondly.
Yeah. So that's the only piece of it we found. Somebody had obviously nicked it
Yep.
and dumped it at the back of the Old Kirk, and it got broken.
This is brilliant.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love this.
Right, we've only given samples of this, but we've got quite a lot of it.
Yeah.
I've probably got, what, half of the overall?
At least,
stir?
yeah. And this is a chunk of West German dipped glazed pottery from sometime between the 1950s and the 1970s. So somebody's bought it back as a souvenir from West Germany.
Yeah. Great. We're going to try and stick that one back together.
Yes, we are.
Well, Gary's going to try and stick that
We've
back
got the
together.
base, we've got the rim, we've got an entire profile there.
Yeah. Nice bit there. Bit more up to date now. Mystery objects.
It's not a mystery, it's exactly what it is. It's the bracket for holding a table tennis net onto the table. So that's the bit that screws underneath. And the net would have come up here for playing table tennis
Oh, great.
across the net. So,
So if we
that's
get another one, get a bit of net, we'll
absolutely, we'll give it a go.
find this table that's got a new use. And then, last thing, date for this. Anybody
This is
want
just
to suggest a date for
Gobsmacking.
this one? You want to make any suggestions? Anybody there?
Well, I've seen by the sell-by date on the back. So
Well, I've got
I
the
know
date
what
here.
it is.
Allow days for delivery. Offer ends on March the 31st, 1978.
So the crisps are made in 1977.
So there's a lesson in getting rid of plastic.
Exactly.
It
Yes.
could be yesterday. If it still has some in, I would probably try them now.
Well, you've tried the salt.
Yeah,
So,
there's nothing in it. It's completely empty. So there we are. That's our finds so far for this year.
so that's a
Almost entirely
broad
this year.
chronology from our earliest date up to modern rubbish dumped on site.
Yeah. I want to go further that way if we can tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Good.
Watch this space.
Okay.